Okay guys, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, we will going to discuss the answer of our last quiz. Ang topic natin nun ay Property, Plant and Equipment, Initial Recognition. So let's start. Okay, so let's try to answer number 1. So number 1, which of the following is not a major characteristic of plant asset or property, plant and equipment? So these are the choices. Letter A, it possesses physical substance. B, it is acquired for use. C, acquired for resale. And D, yields services over a number of years. Remember, ang hinahanap natin dito is not the characteristic of the property, plant and equipment or plant asset. So therefore, the right answer is letter C. So bakit yung letter C? Kasi if the property, plant and equipment was acquired primarily to resell it, so it should not be recorded under property, plant and equipment, but should be recorded under inventory. So ang gagamitin po natin ay hindi FAS 16 or kung hindi PAS 2 or IAS 2, which is accounting for inventory. So the answer is letter C. So how about the other choices? So letter A, so it possesses physical substance. So this is one of the major characteristic of property, plant and equipment. So therefore letter A is wrong. So letter B, acquired for use. This is also another characteristic of property, plant and equipment, wherein we purchase equipment primarily to use them for the business. So letter B is also wrong. So letter dog, yield services over a number of years. Yes, property and plant and equipment was purchased in order to use by the business and as a physical substance at the same time, so it will be used for more than 1 year. So therefore, letter B is also wrong. So that leads us again to letter C, which is our correct answer, which is acquired for resale. Okay, so let's proceed to question number 2. Question number 2, which of the following is less likely to be classified as property, plant and equipment? So since we are looking for the least likely, so hahanapin po natin yung hindi makaklassify under property, plant and equipment. So let's proceed. So ang choices po natin ay letter A, we have land. B, land improvement. C, idle land. And D, natural resources. So ang correct answer po dito ay idle land. So idle land po ang ating sagot kasi although as we all know, land is considered as property, plant and equipment. So dapat po ginagamit niya ng business for their operation. Kasi alam naman natin, pag sinabi nating idle land, so example niyan, vacant land, so hindi natin siya ginagamit for current operation. So normally, bumibili ang mga company ng idle land for the purpose of appreciating its value. So para mag-appreciate yung value niya over time, then kapag meron na silang future buyer, ibebenta nila yan. Or kaya naman kapag nagkaroon sila ng pwedeng paggamitan nun, so doon pa lang natin sila pwedeng i-classify as property, plant and equipment. However, dahil alam naman natin ang value ng land ay nag-appreciate, hindi siya nag-depreciate, so therefore, instead of recording it at property, plant and equipment, so the right account for that will be investment property since pinapa-appreciate natin yung value niya over time. So how about letter A? So land can be considered as property, plant and equipment because ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay general sense. As we all know, land, kapag wala pong other information na sinabi, so ang ating assumption niyan ay ginagamit niya ng business for their operation. However, kapag ang land po ay pinaparenta po natin sa iba, at the same time, yung sinabi mo sa inyo, sa letter C, which is idle land, so therefore, if that's the case, i-record natin yung land as investment property as well. So since silent yung problem about the usage of the land, so ang classification po natin ng land dito ay property, plant and equipment. So therefore, letter A is also wrong. So land improvement is wrong kasi land improvement is recorded under property, plant and equipment. Example niyan, mga fences. So lahat ng improvement natin sa land because land improvement are depreciable assets, di ba? So dahil nagde-depreciate siya ng value, it can be used for more than 1 year. So therefore, ang classification po niyan ay property, plant and equipment. So therefore, letter B is also wrong. So letter dog, natural resources, is also classified as property, plant and equipment. So pag sinabi po nating natural resources, this is related to the equipment that we have put doon sa ating natural resources. So alam naman natin ang natural resources ay nauubos. So although it is not subject for depreciation, ang ginagamit po naman natin dito at subsequent recognition is yung ating depletion. So dahil nagde-deplete po yung value ng natural resources, so as far as the IAS 16 is concerned, so natural resources is recorded under property, plant and equipment. So ang answer po natin dito is idle land. Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. So number 3. Which of the following costs generally would be capitalized to a property, plant and equipment account? So basically, these are the choices. So as you can see sa mga choices, ano yan, mga expense na akala natin ay expense, pero may magkakataon dyan yung expense na yan can be capitalized or be part of the asset, diba? So isa-isahin po natin. So letter A, so interest on debt incurred to purchase an item. B, property taxes relating to period after acquisition. C, import duties incurred on purchase. And D, freight out. So in this case, the right answer po is import duties incurred and purchase. So kasi considered yan as part of the purchase price, diba? As we discussed, lahat ng cost associated sa purchase ng product, as long as the product is not yet available for use, lahat po yun must be capitalized. So invalidate natin yung ibang answer. So letter A. So sabi daw ng letter A dyan, it is the interest on debt incurred to purchase an item. So, although some interest may be capitalized, but ang rule dyan, dapat yung interest na ginamit doon, hindi po ginamit siya for the self-construction of the asset. Kapag ginamit lang natin yung utang na yon, pambili ng asset, yung interest involving that should not be considered as part of the asset. Therefore, that interest must be expensed outright. Again, ang gagamitin lang po nating i-capitalize ng natin under interest kapag yung utang na ginamit mo doon ay gagamitin natin sa pag-self-construct ng asset. So, kung hindi ka naman nag-self-construct ng asset, yung interest na yon must be treated as expense outright. So, therefore, letter A is wrong. Letter B, property taxes relating to periods after acquisition. So, although some property taxes may be included as part of the asset, so these property taxes must be incurred before the acquisition of the asset. So dahil after acquisition na yan, considered to a subsequent recognition. So therefore, this must be considered as an outright expense. So letter B is also wrong. Letter C, as we all know, freight out. So, alam naman natin ang freight out is a selling expense. So, never po siya magiging part ng ating property, plant and equipment. So, therefore, the right answer is letter C, which is import duties incurred on purchase. Okay, so let's proceed to number 4. Number 4 question. C, recently purchased an old building and the land on which it is located. So the old building will be demolished at a net cost of 200,000 pesos and a new building will be built on the site. So the question is, the demolition cost should be. So these are the choices. Letter A, capitalized as part of the land. B, capitalized as part of the cost of the new building. C, depreciate over the remaining life of the old building. And D, written off as an ordinary loss in the year of demolition. So in this case, para mas masagutan natin siya ng maayos, so we have to determine the intention why the old building will be demolished. So based on sa statement, the old building will be demolished because a new building will be constructed. So therefore, yung cost ng demolition is a directly attributable cost dun sa construction ng new building. So therefore, the appropriate answer for this question should be the demolition cost must be capitalized as part of the cost of the new building. So, answer po natin dyan is yung letter B. So, let's invalidate the other answer, diba? So, letter A, ang statement dyan, capitalized as part of the land. Again, based on the statement, so the intention why the old building was demolished is to construct a new building. So, therefore, it must appropriate na i-record natin yung demolition as part of the building kasi ayun po yung ating intention. So therefore, hindi natin siya i-capitalize as part of the land. So another reason is that yung demolition will not increase the value of the land kasi hindi naman niya pinoprolong yung land natin. At the same time, wala naman siyang benefit dun sa land. So ang nag-benefit sa demolition is yung construction ng new building. So therefore, letter A is also wrong. Letter C, depreciate over the remaining life of the old building. Letter C is also wrong kasi dinidemolish na nga natin yung old building. So therefore, wala na po tayong time para i-depreciate pa yung old building since the concept of demolition is to recognize the cost of the old building since a new building will be constructed. So the demolition cost, as I mentioned earlier, must be capitalized. So yung pinag-uusapan po, so ibig sabihin wala na po tayong i-depreciate hindi na po natin ilalagay yon as part of the depreciation ng old building. Letter dog, written off as an ordinary loss in the year of demolition. So as I mentioned earlier, the demolition of the old building is necessary in order to construct the new building. So therefore, directly attributable ka siya ng new building. So pwede ang appropriate action is to capitalize that cost. So hindi po natin yun i-recognize as ordinary loss kasi nga it will be capitalized. So ang correct answer po natin dito ay letter boy. So the demolition cost will be part of the cost of the new building. Okay, so let's proceed to the next question, number 5. So according to number 5, so the cost of directly attributable to bringing the asset to the location and condition for the intended use include all of the following except. So we're looking for the exception, di ba? So lahat daw to directly attributable cost except one. So number 1, cost of opening a new facility. Letter B, freight charges. Letter C, installation cost, and letter D, testing cost. So for this, the right answer is letter A. So cost of opening a new facility must be recognized outright. So example po nito kapag i-relate natin sa property plan and equipment, ito yung canvassing, di ba? Pag sinabi natin canvassing, namimili ka pa kung ano yung bibilin mo, equipment A or equipment B. So since wala pa tayong tamang decision kung ano yung bibilin doon, so all costs related to that canvassing must be recorded as an outright expense. So letter A is correct because hindi yan considered as directly attributable cost. So letter B is considered as directly attributable cost kasi considered po yan as cost na kailangan to bringing up the property plant and equipment for it to be available for use. So since ang binili po natin dito ay PPE, so hindi natin i-record yung freight charges as freight in but considered as property plant and equipment. So letter B is wrong. Letter C, installation cost. So dahil i-install pa natin yung ating product doon sa ating business, so dahil hindi pa magagamit ng business, di pa siya available for use hanggat hindi siya i-installed, so therefore yung cost associated for the installation must be part of the cost of the property, plant, and equipment. So letter C is wrong. D, at the same time, testing cost kasi as I mentioned earlier, ang concept natin ng pag-recognize ng property, plant, and equipment at initial recognition. So lahat ng cost na magagastos mo before bringing the property, plant, and equipment at that doon sa time na pwede na siyang gamitin or magiging available for use na siya. So doon mo pa lahat ng cost na yon pabalik could be considered as property, plant, and equipment. So ang exception lang to the rule is yung cost of opening a new facility kasi wala pa naman nabibili doon na PPE. So therefore, ang testing cost ay kailangan before natin magamit si PPE. So considered po siya as part ng ating property, plant, and equipment. So letter D is wrong. So therefore, ang tamang sagot lang natin is letter A, which is cost of opening a new facility. Okay, so let's proceed to number 6. So the question is, an entity imported machinery to be installed in the factory before year end. So what is the proper treatment of freight and interest on the loan to fund the cost of machinery? So basically, meron tayong nakikitang cost dyan, which is the freight charges, and the number 2 is the interest expense kasi inutang daw natin yung pambili ng ating machinery. So this is our choices. So letter A, both expenses daw must be capitalized. B, both expenses are expense. D, letter C, si freight daw must be capitalized and interest is expense. And D, freight is expense and interest is capitalized. So kailan ba natin kinakapitalize ang freight? So dahil kailangan natin yung freight para ma-deliver yung ating machinery to its present location. So wala tayong problema. Freight is always capitalized. So ang question lang natin dito is yung interest. So considered po to as borrowing cost, tama? However, based doon sa ating statement, hindi naman po tayo nag-self-construct ng ating asset kasi bumili lang tayo. So kaya lang ang ginamit nating pambili ay inutang natin. So since there is no actual construction na ginawa sa ating business, so therefore the interest expense cannot be capitalized. So it must be expense. So ang tamang sagot po natin which is the freight should be capitalized kasi considered to as purchase price or yung directly attributable cost. Ang interest po ay hindi po siya considered as borrowing cost to be capitalized, expense outright po siya. So the right answer is letter C. Okay? Letter C po ang tamang sagot. So letter A is wrong kasi nga si freight ay kakapitalize natin, ay si interest ay i-expense. So pare-pares lang naman po yan, so hindi po nila na-meet yung requirement. So letter A is wrong, B is also wrong, at the same time is yung letter D. Ulitin ko lang po ang proper treatment. The freight is capitalized kasi considered yan as directly attributable cost or part of the purchase price. Ang interest expense, dahil hindi naman natin construct yung machinery, binili lang po natin yan. So therefore, kahit inutang mo pa yung pinanbili mo yon, hindi po yun qualified to be part of borrowing cost to be capitalized. So it must be expense outright. Okay, so number 7. An entity purchased machine on account at the beginning of the year and the seller requires the buyer to pay in 4 equal annual installment starting end of the year. The cost would be the installment price multiplied by the time value of money concept. So these are your choices, di ba? So basically, we have to determine kung paano ba natin babayaran yung ating utang kasi sabi nga dito, it was purchased on account. At the same time, it will be paid at a later date. So we have to be careful on the terms. So based dun sa terms, installment daw yung ating mode of payment. So dahil installment ang mode of payment, so hindi na po natin gagamitan yung choices na may kinalaman sa single payment. So sa case natin, si letter A, dahil single payment yan, so hindi na natin yan iintindihin. So ang intindihin na lang natin kung kailan ba ang unang nating babayaran yung ating utang. It will be paid at the purchase date or it will be paid at the end of the period. So sa case daw natin, babayaran siya in 4 equal annual installment and the first payment will be made after 1 year or at the end of the year. So ang gagamitin po natin dyan ay yung related sa installment, which is present value of ordinary annuity. So ang answer natin dito ay letter boy. So letter C is wrong kasi present value of annuity due, gagamitin lang po natin yan if the first payment will be made at the beginning of the year or kaya naman at the date of acquisition. Tapos equal, yung babayaran natin ay pare-parehas sa mga susunod na bayaran in installment. So letter D, present value of multiple payments. So dahil vague yung statement, so hindi po natin yan ipiliin. So ang tamang sagot lang po is yung letter B. Ang gagamitin natin ay present value of ordinary annuity. Okay, so let's proceed to number 8. Question: the cost of an item of property, plant and equipment that is acquired in exchange of combination of monetary and non-monetary asset is measured at. So basically, dalawang beses natin binayaran ang ating property. So yung isa, monetary, which is nagbayad tayo ng cash. Then yung pangalawa, non-monetary asset. So it may be in the form of another property, plant and equipment, di ba? So dahil meron po yung exchange of property, plant and equipment on our side, so ano daw po yung magiging basis ng ating asset received? So these are your choices. So letter A, fair value of asset received plus cash payment. Letter B, carrying amount of the asset received plus cash payment. Letter C, fair value of the asset given up plus cash payment. And letter D, carrying amount of the asset given up plus cash payment. Remember, although the problem is silent about kung with commercial substance na siya or wala, so ang assumption po natin in that case, laging with commercial substance. So I think you're already familiar if the exchange has commercial substance or not. So ang assumption natin dito with commercial substance. So dahil with commercial substance, dun susundin po natin yung hierarchy na inaral natin before. So ang pinakamataas na hierarchy po is yung fair market value of the asset given up plus cash payment. So in that case, ang tamang sagot po natin dito ay letter C. So letter A is wrong, fair market value of the asset received plus cash payment kasi ang magiging basis po natin dahil meron tayong give up na asset, so that will be our initial basis. So letter A is wrong. Letter B, carrying amount. So gagamitin lang po natin yung carrying amount kapag ang ating pong transaction ay without commercial substance. Pero in case without commercial substance, ang basis natin lagi is yung carrying amount of the asset given up. So therefore, letter B will never be right, diba? So letter D, carrying amount of asset given up plus cash payment. So pipiliin lang natin lang to kapag ang ating exchange has no commercial substance. Pero dahil silent yung problem about kung may commercial substance or wala, so ang assumption lagi natin ay with commercial substance. So therefore, letter B is a wrong statement. So ang tamang sagot po natin ay letter C. Okay, so number 9. Discount given for early payment of credit purchase of machinery should be letter A, recorded as expense at purchase date. Letter B, deducted from the invoice price when determining the cost of the asset. Letter C, capitalized as cost of the asset acquired and subsequently allocated to depreciation expense. Letter D, recorded as interest revenue at purchase date. So basically, ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito ay cash discount given for early payment. So as you remember dun sa ating initial recognition ng PPE, so lagi po natin ini-include ang ating cash discount. So whether taken or not, diba? So regardless kung inavail natin yung early payment or hindi, so lagi po natin ima-minus doon yung ating cash discount. So basically, invoice price minus the cash discount whether taken or not. So in this case, the right answer is letter B. So the amount must be deducted to the invoice price, and pag na-deduct natin yon, so ayun po yung ating i-recognize as part of the property, plant and equipment. So let's invalidate the other answer. Letter A, recorded as interest expense at purchase date. Hindi, kasi consider dyan as diba? Na discount given. So basically, it should be, pwede pa nga yung i-recognize as income, so never expense. So therefore, letter A is wrong. Letter C, capitalized as cost of the asset acquired and subsequently allocated depreciation expense. This is also wrong kasi ang classification niyan ay purchase discount, diba? Ang purchase discount is good on the part of the management kasi nababawasan yung ating binayaran. So therefore, hindi po yan kinakapitalize, diba? So letter D, recorded as interest revenue at purchase dates, wrong. So although tinatanggal na po natin siya at purchase date, in case ang magiging result lang yan kapag hindi po natin na-avail. Pero i-ignore lang po natin siya at purchase date kasi regardless if the discount is taken or not, or na-avail natin yung discount, wala po kaso yon with regards to the recognition of property, plant, and equipment. So hindi po yon nire-record as interest revenue. So yung letter D is also wrong. So ang sagot lang po natin, ang discount po ay dinededuct sa invoice price to get the amount na i-record naman natin sa property, plant, and equipment whether taken or not. So answer is letter B. Okay, so number 10. Number 10, which of the following statement describes the proper accounting for loss in non-monetary exchange with commercial substance? So basically, kapag tayo daw natalo, kapag nagkaroon tayo ng exchange tapos commercial substance. So these are your choices. So the loss is deferred, the loss is recognized, a loss can incur only when the asset is sold for cash, and letter D, loss is ignored. So alam na agad natin, ang sagot natin dyan, a loss must be recognized outright, di ba? So recognize po natin yan outright. So answer po natin is letter B. So hindi po natin i-defer yon kasi natangyari na po yung exchange and transaction. So letter A is wrong. Hindi rin po natin yan, hindi lang po nagkakaroon ng loss kapag nagkaroon ng bentahan ng cash. Kasi nga, kahit pa nagkaroon lang tayo ng exchange of non-monetary asset to another non-monetary asset, so a loss may be recognized or may be a gain as long as there is a commercial substance. So letter C is wrong. So a loss is ignored, hindi naman pwede. So ginagamit lang po natin a loss is ignored in case the transaction has no commercial substance. Since sinabi ng problem na merong commercial substance yung transaction, therefore, a loss must be recognized. So letter B is a wrong statement. So ulitin ko lang po, ang sagot natin ay letter B. A loss is recognized.